Welcome to Techmark Pod, where we innovate, discuss, and discover the dynamic intersection of technology and marketing. In each episode, we explore how businesses can leverage both to drive growth and innovation. Meet Alvin, our esteemed host for Techmark Pod. With over 15 years of experience as a renowned marketer, project manager, and software as a service architect, join us as we uncover the unique value proposition of integrating technology and marketing strategies, helping you stay ahead in this fast-paced digital world.
Hi everyone, welcome to Techmark Pod. Today I've got a special guest, Ndi. So I met Ndi, I think in 2012. I think so.
I think it was
Around there, right? So I was a technician. That was like my introduction to IT, and Ndi was already a project manager. I think 2012. If you think of 2012, I mean it was very rare to see women project managers, or should I be specifically say black women project managers, young at the same time. I believe you were young at the same time.
Yeah, I was very young.
You were very young.
I was in my late 20s.
Yeah, you're in late 20s. I was mid 20s, so I wasn't, So we met at I think we were doing was it Eskom or
Yeah, it was Eskom. We're doing
Novel
migration from Novel group-wise to Microsoft.
We've lived the time.
Yes.
We have lived the time, because now, I mean, we're talking about 365 dynamics and all that stuff. They came later on, and we were talking about group-wise and all that stuff. So, Ndi as an individual, as a project manager, she actually motivated me to become a project manager at that time. And of course, we parted ways, and then I went on to be a project manager again at Eskom. Surprisingly, I went to be a project manager at Eskom and Transnet and so on, and different kind of projects. Lessons learned from you and other project managers that I met back then in 2012. So, Ndi, we're going to start with an introduction of how did you become a project manager? This story, I know you're an engineer. You're an engineer. So everybody would want to know, how did you start, this journey of project management?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, because it actually reminds me of the younger version of me, passionate about life. So I am an industrial engineer by profession. I studied at University of Johannesburg, and I actually did a grad at the time, which was about a year, as an industrial engineer. So at some point, I think it was 2006, I did a bachelor for industrial engineering, because at that time I just completed a diploma. And on my second year, there was a subject called project management.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? For some reason, I was quite intrigued. What is project management? And at the time, at the company that I was working for, they were implementing one of the methodology that is called 20 keys. And
Wow.
they used to refer to projects. So the word was everywhere. So I actually started doing research. What is project management? And I actually found that there's a project manager role. And when I looked at the job description, it was just too high for me, because I only had a 2-year experience as an engineer. So I then looked, what is the entry level? So I found project admin, project coordinator. I didn't like project admin, because then people think you are a PA. So I then went more into project coordinator. I only applied once, and I was called for interview.
Wow.
At T Systems. And I then started working as a project coordinator. I was the first young black woman there. I was very young. I think I was 24.
Yeah.
And one thing that they admire was I was an engineer, so they had this view that as an engineer I'm able to do analysis and all that, and at the same time that company was IT, and I come from manufacturing because I was working in the manufacturing space, and then I was in IT.
Can I add something there? I'm just trying to think. Um, T Systems, to put context to it, T Systems is a German company and it's a telecoms company in Germany, right?
Yes.
So I'm just assuming that they are accustomed to engineers.
Yes, I
Probably.
think so. Yes,
They gravitated to a black engineer,
Mhm.
like, okay, this is exciting.
Mhm.
Let's get her in or something of that nature. I'm just assuming.
Yeah, but I think when you're passionate about something.
Yeah.
So because for some reason I was very passionate about project management without knowing what is it all about. So in an IT space, it was new. I actually even took a cut of my salary.
Wow.
From being an engineer to project coordinator, moving from walking to the office, using a taxi to Midrand, getting stuck and all that. But that's basically where I started. And I had a desire to be a project manager. So I started reading job descriptions of a project manager.
Wow.
And one thing that I'm quite grateful for is my basic understanding of project management. I was led by very senior project managers, program managers, and you could see that you want to be there and you are here. So I was really aspired by the people that I was working with. And if a senior project manager has a project, believe me, I will do most of the work because project managers don't like admin. So I will go above and beyond.
Yeah.
And it took me like 2 years to be a junior project manager. And for me to reach to be a junior project manager, I remember I used to be the second one to arrive at the office where we were based at the customer.
Yeah.
And I had the account manager saying, no, we have a project. We need a coordinator, junior project manager. I went home that day, prayed about it.
Yeah.
Seriously prayed about it.
Yeah.
And the following day, the account manager found me in the office. And I went to him and I said, I heard you yesterday. You were looking for a junior project manager. And he said, yes. I was like, I'm interested. He said, are you sure? I said, definitely, I'm interested. So he then said, I'll speak to your manager. And that's how I started running projects. And I've never turned back.
Wow.
I never went back to my role. I continued as a project manager. And that first project that I did, it was an introduction of insurance. If you know iWise.
Yeah.
Yes, I was part of that.
Wow.
I was part of the idea generation. I was part of the whole process because there were a number of partners into the project, and I was responsible for putting the infrastructure.
Wow, that's interesting. There's certain things that I've gathered from what you've just said, and I think if I go back to how you entered into the industry, your passion, how you became a go-getter to get what you want, it's something that probably someone who is learning at the moment would want to learn. How do you get to another step in the industry? Because a lot of young people, when they come out of college, they don't know whether they want to be project managers or not, because project management is not a degree.
It's not a degree, and I think for me, one of the it's not really a skill, but you need to be observant. I know that currently, we are working from home and all that, but it's more important that you connect with people,
Yeah.
to get to understand their where they come from as well. So for me at the time, because we were in the office, I used to observe. Like, I will observe how you conduct yourself as the project managers,
Yeah.
how you run your meetings, how you facilitate your meetings, how you engage in different levels, how you send emails,
Everything. Everything.
everything,
Everything.
and
Yeah.
curiosity. I was very curious. Like, I will ask you so many questions.
I know. I remember. So I think one of my memories was, I understand you came from engineering and you wanted to know exactly what are you going to do as a technician.
Yeah.
Are we going to finish this project?
Yes.
So after this step and this step and this step,
Yes.
so what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
You made it easy for us to be successful. You understand? So the project that you ran with you, they were successful.
Yes.
You understand? And it's something that I learned on the way because I'm more of an observant person. I observe and learn. So I observed how you ran the project and actually took that with me. And I also ran my project that way to make sure that I complete the project. So let's talk about something interesting that we as project managers, I'm not really a project manager as such, but project managers that, people that have been involved in projects, is there a time where you were assigned a project and you just didn't know how are you going to execute this project, or it was in a comfortable project, like I don't know this, so why am I supposed to do it? So I'll give you an example for myself, right? My experience, I remember being assigned a project to do infrastructure cabling. It was my first time. Cat 6 cabling and cabinets. I'm like, no, what am I supposed to do with this project and how am I going to execute this project? But I then went back and thought about it, read about it, and then I executed the project very well. Is there a moment that was like that for you?
I think for me, I've had, I would say, each and every project. I haven't had a project that is not different. And because it's in IT space, and at the beginning, I do not have IT background and knowledge, expertise. So when you assign me a project, everything is new. And that's where I learned the ability to ask questions. So I have to ask questions so that I understand. So most of the projects that I've run, at the beginning, I actually do not know what's happening. And my strategy is then, because you will normally have some sort of a proposal and documentation.
Definitely.
At the beginning of that project, you will think something has went off, because I will read that proposal in and out, underline the parts I don't understand, Google, put more explanations. I actually used to have flip charts that I will go and write so that I remember. So I will have a bit of information. Then I will then go to the subject matter experts and I start asking questions. By the time I start asking you questions, you will not know that I do not know, because I would have already done my own research. Like, I will do thorough research. Wherever I will be digging and trying to understand. And after that, I can ask same question differently number of times so that it makes sense to me. My motto is, if it doesn't make sense to me, then it does not make sense to the customer. Definitely. Because most of the customers are not technical. So I'm not technical. So explain it to me so that I can understand and I can be able to communicate when you're not there and present the solution that we are actually going to be implementing. And I think this brings me to the topic around, can a project manager, do we need to have technical project managers or not?
What do you think?
My opinion is it depends. For me, I'm not technical,
Yeah.
but I can run any project.
Definitely.
So it goes with your communication. Do you know how to manage your stakeholders? Do you know how to ask the right questions? What type of research do you do? Because indeed, you can't just implement a solution without understanding what you are implementing. So if you have the ability to be able to ask the right questions so that you understand, for me, you can implement. And you actually accumulate the technical jargon and all that over the years. And then you do have technical PMs that maybe you were technical, maybe you were a developer, or you were a solution architect, and you then become a project manager. It's still good because you then have a better understanding of what's being implemented. And at the same time, you won't spend more time trying to understand. With me, I spend more time on my personal time to understand. That's number one. Number two, whatever you are implementing, you need to be so clear. I need to know, what will you do? What will you do after? What are the risks? What are the dependencies? So I don't make assumptions.
So this you basically summarize the qualities of an effective project manager.
Yep.
That's what who you are, right? That's what you are. So I think I like the fact that you speaking about the effectiveness of a project manager. Then let's relate it to any other company. What is the importance of project management in any company, any project? Does that determine their success as a company?
It does, quite a lot, because if I just reflect on where I accumulated a lot of experience in project management, if I look at the different levels that we had in project management office, we had project coordinators, juniors, intermediate, senior, program, and those that when you bring them a project, they just do it on the fly. So when you have the right project management levels in the organization, you are able to run quick projects, you are able to run strategic projects. And for me, project managers, as when you move up, you are more involved in the strategic projects, where in any organization, if you want to have your strategic being implemented, your business objectives being implemented, you need someone to pull it together.
Yeah.
And that person is a project manager who will actually bring all the stakeholders, who will actually identify things that you might not have thought of. They will bring in their project governance as well, so that that project is successful.
Yeah.
And hence it's also important for organizations to get the right project managers, because there is a lot of project managers.
I'm not so
out
sure
there.
But when you say the right, that's quite interesting, because I don't know how do they identify the right project manager. So from my experience, again, I'm gonna go back to my experience, and I'm not gonna say the names or I was exposed to different project managers in my life. One guy I remember one guy. Unfortunately, passed away. May his soul rest in peace. We had a project at a certain company, and he'll leave me with the team. Let's say maybe around 12 or maybe 11 after 11. Then he'll be like, Alvin, I'm coming back. I'm like, but are we not supposed to be? No. You take care of this. I'm going for a swim. I'll see you in an hour. He's actually going to Virgin Active or somewhere and he swims and then he comes back after an hour. Then he runs the project, I've seen different kind of people that run projects, and some, of course, they were fired. Some they were excused from the project. Some were successful and they still continue the project. So, how do you identify these people?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I would say that's $1 million question. I'm also still trying to uncover how you identify actually a great project manager.
Yeah.
Maybe now with my current role as a PMO lead, I think I might have seen it all.
You've seen it all now.
Yeah, I have seen it all. Yeah. And when you're doing interview, you will not know if the person is the right one or not.
Definitely.
And this applies to all positions.
Yeah.
And for me, recently, what I really started thinking and started sharing with my colleagues is that I actually want to do a case study before we actually hire you. And for me, if I can get a project manager who can do a proper planning.
Yeah.
If a project manager can do a thorough planning, and understand what are they delivering, how much is going to cost them, for how long, and the activities, there's no assumptions that are being made, then I know that project manager, it's 1 in a million, because for you to do a planning, you need to apply all the skills.
Definitely. You need to.
But once again, you won't be able to identify this in an interview. But I actually think having a verbal or Teams, whatever that you use for interview, and go with case study.
Do you think passion also is something that we should consider?
Yes. Most importantly, project management is not for everyone. You can have the title.
Yeah.
But for you to start a project from nothing, just you have a proposal, and you need to deliver that.
See to closure.
It does need a passion, because you will have a lot of up and downs, especially if you are running an enterprise project.
Yeah.
Where whatever that you're implementing impacts everyone. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it's doable. But for me, passion, maybe because I'm passionate about project management, I'm passionate about delivering something, delivering what the customer is paying us for, delivering a value, delivering something that they will be able to use. If you're not passionate.
I think almost everything that you're saying, I'm going to reference to these books here. Effective project management. You're just talking about creating value in organizations, and that's exactly what project managers do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Let's quickly talk about your milestones. Is there like a project that you said, no, I've arrived. I've done this project. I know there might be future projects that will come through, but is there any project that you felt that way?
Yeah, a couple of them. I have run infrastructure projects like network, putting down infrastructure. And I've run software projects.
Yeah.
And I came to a conclusion that software projects are not easy.
Okay.
And that is because you are dealing with mostly users and their requirements. At the same time, you are as a project manager, you need to understand what you are delivering. You need to be able to understand what the users or the business requires.
Yeah.
Interpret that with the technical team and make sense of it. And with that being said, I've actually been exposed in running ERP projects, SAP, Oracle, and Microsoft. So I've been involved in all of them. And out of all of them, some of the projects or programs that I've run, um, it's one of those that were overrunning, or I'm the fifth project manager and I have to come and rescue the project.
Wow. Yeah.
And I remember one specifically for one of the leading banks, which I was assigned. It was around November. I was actually running away from that project until there was no one to
do it.
And then I was like, let me go for it. And that project was a mess. And normally when a project is a mess, it's because the project manager didn't follow the governance.
Yeah.
They didn't manage the scope. And the scope, there's so much scope creep. And it was running for 2 years, and it was supposed to be done within 2 years. And I had to come in, put a structure, because it was November. I started, understanding, actually doing the questioning. And I understood. We went on leave in December. I couldn't even stay home. I had to come back.
Sleepless nights.
Yeah, I had to come back this side to actually do my planning.
Yeah.
Like putting together so that when we come back in Jan, the plan is there. And indeed, when we went back, the plan was there. And everyone bought to it because it was realistic. And we had phased approach. It was a program. And for me, why I said that was one of the milestones. I had a team in India. I had a team here.
Sure.
So we were working 24 hours. And I had to manage
both teams.
And I had close to 15 developers.
Yeah.
Functional consultants, testers, and we were close to around 40 team members.
Wow, that's big. Yeah.
So, and I remember, due to the amount of stress, at some point my voice went. The way I was so stressed, and we had our Kanban on the walls, like moved. So because I couldn't talk, you just move the stickers, But that project was successful.
You know what? You just spoke a lot of terms in project management. I'm a layman. I'm gonna assume that I'm a layman, and everybody was listening. You spoke about Waterfall, you spoke about Agile, you spoke about Kanban, you spoke about all these terms in project management. It makes it difficult for us who are maybe clients to even understand what are you talking about. It sounds like Greek, like we don't understand exactly. So I want to talk about project management methodologies, right? Of course, they would want to know what kind of methodologies should they use, or what does it entail for them. Do you understand? I won't go to the classification of different methodologies, but I would want you to tell us what methodologies you use in project management.
So, in terms of methodology, I mostly use a hybrid.
Okay.
And for me, it doesn't matter which methodology you use. It's about the end result. If the customer wants this glass, how you get to the glass, the customer doesn't really want to know. As long as you give me a glass with the color I want, with the shape I want, how you get there, it doesn't really matter. But I normally use hybrid. There is Waterfall, which is mostly sequenced. The activities are sequenced. But if an example, you look at how we run projects these days, especially in the software space, we use Waterfall at the beginning to basically do analysis and design.
Yeah.
We want to understand your requirements
Yeah.
first. So we'll have a number of workshops, go through different questions, and then we'll put documentations together, and then you can sign. But at the same time with that, if an example you have different processes, we can actually group them and we don't need to do 10 processes. The moment we finish the first one, we agree on the requirements, we actually start with the implementation.
Yeah.
And then we are already doing an agile where at least the customer is able to see the result or able to view how the product is going to look like at earlier stage, not at the end.
Okay.
So hence I say we use a hybrid approach. And within that, at the same time, you need to always make sure that you are confirming with the customer if this is what they wanted.
Yeah.
And you do that through the walkthroughs, through the playbacks. They do mini UATs during the development. And that makes the customer walk the journey. Hence, for me, it's about the end product, not necessarily about the methodology. The methodology is there to actually guide the team to say, this is what you need to do. This is the process that you need to follow.
Mhm. Wow. Okay. Let's let's quickly come back. We'll get to what you are at the moment, your role. Why do you think that we have a few black project managers in corporate, basically? Do you think maybe are we not getting exposed to project management? Are they not being passionate, or they're not being made aware maybe that there is something called project management? They all go study IT, they all go study engineering, but they end up just being engineers or just being doing IT, possibly with those qualities, but do they know project management?
I think it's more about exposure. Um, because as you said earlier on, project management is not a degree. It's actually, for me, I see it as it's not isolated, but you almost like specialized
Yeah.
in project management. Um, and like myself, if it was not the course and being curious, I was not going to know about it. I think most of the people do project management as a course and they leave it there, not knowing that you can actually expand in that area because it's quite broad. You can actually expand in that area. So I will say it's more exposure. Secondly, I think fear,
Yeah.
because if you are in an organization or you have had or you have been part of a project team
Yeah.
and you are a developer, you are a consultant, you are a tester, whichever role you are playing, and you see how the project manager struggles or maneuver the environment.
Yeah.
I think when they see that, they don't want to pursue that career.
Career.
Because I have had a number of young people that have approached me in the past around project management, even now, and then I will explain, and they will say it's very difficult, but it's not difficult. It's like any other career, any other profession. It's just that it's a bit challenging because you do need to carry more of leadership. You also need to be a motivator. You
People's person.
Yes.
You need to learn how to work with
Yeah,
people.
you need to learn and not be a boss. Where you just issue instruction. You need to work together. So, and at the same time, you also need to be able to sell what as project. You need to believe in what you are delivering. So that skill, you also require that. You also need to know your finances. That's also one of the areas that most project managers, you may find that they are lacking. It's very important to understand your finances, because if you are running a project, you are the CEO of that project.
I've heard something like being a project manager is like running your own company.
Yeah.
Are you attesting to that?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually, at the beginning, I used to say it's my baby.
Yeah.
So I look after it.
Yeah.
But it's true, you are the CEO of that project, because you are in charge, you are leading, and you are responsible for making sure that you are delivering on time, within scope, and within budget, quality. You are also managing the customer. You are managing your team.
Definitely.
And you are also managing internally the management.
Yeah.
So when if someone says this project and he is running this project, I'm the bus stop on that project.
Yeah.
I'm the one that knows what's happening. So you are the CEO of that project, and it's actually a mindset, because you sometimes you do find that if you do not have that mindset, you don't take ownership and accountability. You will just let things
just slide
because you are not thinking you are accountable. And when you have that mindset shift, it actually goes miles, because you will be able to engage with your team.
The more you say, it's like, I mean, that what do you call it? The RACI matrix. It's almost like you're saying you have to tick every RACI. You are everything.
You are everything. You are definitely everything. You can't tell me that you are managing a project and someone else is responsible, is accountable. You are accountable for that project. Very much so, by the way.
And you talk to yourself and you inform yourself.
Yes. And I mean, you make plans. If things are behind you, you make plans. You engage with the team. You direct the team. And hence, for me, I think one thing that I have actually discovered is that when you are a project manager, you are a leader.
You are.
And if you have that understanding, you will be able to manage your project. You will not want to wait for things to happen. You won't be a reactive project manager just waiting for someone to tell you. You will be proactive in all aspects.
I think what project management did to me was an exposure to different people from all walks of life. You know, I had a team in Joburg. They do cabling. If you understand, most of the teams in cabling, possibly they learn until matric, if not even half matric, but they know how to run the cables and they get their certification, you know, the kronas and all the stuff, you know. And then you move to another step, you go to software development. You have this very educated, very intelligent people of all different kind of, you know. Then suddenly I was in Cape Town. It was a whole ball game together. You know, there was a different people in Cape Town. You have different races, and you need to actually understand these people.
Yes.
I mean, I ended up eating babuti and all the food in Cape Town, kept my lion food because I needed to get along with the people. You understand? But at the end of the day, I had projects that were started and they were successful. So I understand exactly what you mean. So another question I want to ask, do you know how many projects you've run so far? Roughly.
It may be close to 60, 70.
Wow.
And they vary. They vary from small, because when I started, I ran small projects, medium, large, like where it's 70 million, 60 million, 20 million, things like that.
Highest value?
It was around 80, I think.
80 million.
Yeah, but that one was actually the infrastructure and the resources.
Yeah.
And in terms of the software, where it's purely resources, I think it was around 40.
Mm.
And that was the leading bank that I did the implementation.
So you've been a project manager for how many years now?
18 years.
18. Wow, that's huge. That's huge.
Yes.
And I'm grateful to have been part of your team and you being my project manager. I'm grateful for that. Currently, what are you doing exactly? Because you're not a project manager. Tell us about the current role.
So currently, I'm leading software team as a project management office. I have project managers reporting to me. My main responsibilities is to make sure that there is governance in place. The projects are run according to the frameworks that we have defined. I get involved in proposal writing, doing estimates as well. Most importantly, I coach, mentor project managers. I think that's the area where I spend my most of my time.
Yeah.
A lot with the project managers, because I believe if I'm working with the project manager, I should be able to guide them on one-on-ones, so that at least when they go to their respective meetings with the customer, the team, they are able to navigate the space. So that's basically where I spend most of my time currently. I must say it has been challenging because I like details.
How many project managers are they reporting to?
It's about 9.
About 9.
Yes.
Okay. Are we at liberty to say which company you're working for?
Yes, of course.
Oh, okay. There you go. you can tell us.
So I'm currently working for Altron Digital business.
Yeah.
Specialize in this IT infrastructure, but it's basically IT.
Yeah.
There's infrastructure parts and there's software part. I am responsible for the software, which is mostly Microsoft Dynamics 365.
Yeah.
And also data and AI. So I did also run a data and AI project for one of the state-owned company.
Yeah.
And also we have the cloud as well. So these 3 portfolio, I manage them, and I have project managers running projects in different portfolios.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in terms of project management or your career, do you think this is self-actualization, or there's more to the?
I think there's more.
There's more.
But being exposed to PMO, it has actually opened up for me in different areas, because I have been really running projects. I mean, you give me any project, I will run. That's my comfort zone.
Definitely.
And being in the PMO space where you manage project managers, I mean, it's not easy. You are almost managing a manager, because project manager is the manager on their own.
Definitely.
That has not been easy. And I think I have room to learn. I don't think I've arrived in this role.
Yeah.
There's a lot that I need to learn.
Yeah.
And I've been exploring that, actually. Also getting more mentors. I've actually been doing a lot of researching on LinkedIn, checking, PMO gurus.
Yes, yeah.
I've actually found a couple.
Yeah.
And I have been joining conferences around PMO. I just want to spend my time understanding PMO. Because there's so
there's
much.
More to
Yes,
that.
there's so much within PMO that I think I still need to achieve.
Another question: what is project management in times of AI? AI is just disrupting everything. What is project management? I think you just mentioned you did an AI project, but what does it entail during these times?
So, for me, I see it in two ways.
Yeah.
When I started, I was a project coordinator. I was doing a lot of admin, like taking minutes, scheduling meetings. I didn't even know how to take minutes, but I had to, I had to learn to do that, and that was that time.
Yeah.
And then you look at
10 years later,
now,
15, 18 years later.
yes,
Yeah.
and as a project manager, if you learn how to use AI,
Yeah.
it will do most of your admin. It will also do more of some of the basics thinking.
Yeah.
But it also goes with if a PM is willing to explore technology,
Yeah.
because it's not everyone that want to explore. So if you are willing to explore technology, it will help you a lot. You can actually get your work done much easier. And for me, I see, because there's fear that AI will take project management and all that. For me, it's not like that. AI is there to complement project managers to do some of the things that we really don't like as project managers.
Yeah.
And you will then have more time to actually engage with people, because that's one thing that AI can do. Engaging with the people, understanding what the project is all about, understanding what the business require, how you manage your stakeholders, all of those things. It's where we really need project managers to focus, because managing people is not easy.
It's not.
Managing requirements, it even brings another
Dimension.
level of dimension when you are running a project. And those areas is areas that we need to focus on, because that's where we will add value. So AI for me is complementary, quite a lot actually, and I do encourage, if a project manager has not explored using AI, explore that area. It will help you a lot. From your minutes, doing your documentations, just broaden your perspective as well, and you will have so much time to deal with the important stuff.
Wow. That's correct. I like it. I like it very much because I'm one person who doesn't like taking minutes as well.
Yeah.
And I find it handy now. And I think that's interesting. So we are working with AI basically in project management. Interesting.
We have to.
We have to. Okay, cool. I think we've had a lot of discussion on project management. Do you have any closing remarks? Do you have anything else that you want us to talk to about?
I think for me, I do encourage, especially young people,
Yeah.
Regardless of the gender, to actually explore project management. It's doable. Um, if you have the zeal, if you have the passion, I would say explore this area and learn. And there's different levels in project management. You can start as a coordinator, you can start as a junior project manager, and you move up to project manager, senior project manager. And for me, it's not really about certificates. There's a lot of materials out there. There's LinkedIn, there's Udemy. Research about project management, so that at least you can have a broader view in this area. And for me, that's for young, especially young people,
Yeah.
because we really need them in the market.
Wow. That's interesting. Do you think in the future we might maybe get a divorce project management foundation that is to empower the young people from you from Limpopo, vendor, right? From vendor that want to learn project management. I'm just curious.
I think it's an area that I'm looking into, because with the experience that I've had in running projects,
Yeah.
I think everyone deserves to know
Yeah.
and share, so that at least we don't repeat the same mistakes. And I think with also my current role, I have found myself enjoying that space.
Okay.
And it's something
Where you are nurturing the project managers that are
yes,
coming up.
and
Yeah.
it comes natural.
Mhm.
So that's one thing I've picked up. So it's really an area that I have started looking into.
Yeah.
And also, even if I can just start having people that are mentor and coach, that will be great. The other thing is I have also started looking into if I can do lecturing part time,
Yeah.
so that I can just impart the knowledge that I have.
Talking about lecturing, it's something that is quite interesting because I thought about it like where you just become a visiting lecturer. I had the Vits lecturer here last month, and I'm going to be a visiting lecturer at Vits, and something that's very much exciting. Just
Yes.
imparting the knowledge that we've
Yeah.
accrued over the years. I mean, that's something powerful. You know what I mean? Wow. Okay. So yeah, Lee, it's been a pleasure. But wait. I have another question. I remembered another question. It sounds a little bit controversial, but I want to ask that question. Right? You became a project manager. So I had an interview with Cash. Cash is in the IT industry, right? And she tells me about how the IT industry is saturated with mostly male dominated, people that are working in the IT industry. Um, and you entered this industry 18 years ago. Do you understand? And it was worse than that, than it is today. You know, um, and I just want to know: is there a playbook how to survive the male domination in the IT industry?
There's no playbook, if you ask me, but because I've ran projects where sometimes it will only be male.
Yeah.
Um, for me, my motto is, hey, you are in the project, let's get to business. Regardless of
Of who you are or
of
whatever
who you
it is.
are.
Get my stuff done.
Yeah, like seriously, we need to get the work done, and I think that has worked. I still remember when I did the data and AI project. At that time, I was still new in the organization, and like the project has not been going well for some years. And I was coming in, and I could, you could sense that, okay, they don't believe that you'll deliver. And I was like, okay, we'll bring my own magic here. And I think one of the things that I did, which I didn't mention, is as a project manager, you need to be able to, if you are running a large project with many technical team, you can't be on everyone. So you do need to make sure there's some sort of leadership that you have within that team that is also assisting you to drive. And I had to identify that leadership, and it was too male. And this one day, they were like, Andy, please, we do understand that. In fact, we can see that you do not know data and AI. And I said, yes, of course. I actually do not know. But do you know that what I know is that I've run large projects that are in crisis. And that's what I bring on the table. I bring that experience. You bring your technical data and AI. I bring in my experience in how to run large projects, because you have run small projects, and we complement each other. So we can't keep on shaking each other like this. So we complement each other, and we move. And that was the magic. Since then, we never had issues.
No more issues.
No more issues. So for me, it's really about you get the work done. Whether you are male or female, it doesn't matter.
Get the work done.
We need to get the work done. What a male can do, a female can do.
Definitely. Should they call you Boss Ndi?
No, no, no. I still prefer the.
You sound like a boss lady. You have been doing that very well, respectfully. Like not like a boss that is, but respectfully, you've done that very well. So, I would like to say congratulations to you.
Thank you.
For the time that I've known you and what you are today. Congratulations. This is an achievement, and I wish you well in this role. And yeah, thank you for also agreeing to come to the podcast. And this is your first podcast.
Yes. And thank you so much, Alvin, for seeing something unique in me and believing that I can come and share my knowledge. Yeah, I do appreciate that
Thank you, ma'am.
a lot, and meeting you because yeah, I remember those years. We used to work 24
24
hours.
hours, yeah. Yeah.
And 24 hours was nothing. So I do appreciate the invitation and
Yeah.
as well.
Thank you. Thank you for watching. Please continue to support us, retweet, engage. And if you want to reach out to you're not really on social media. Oh, you're on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn.
Oh, she's on LinkedIn. What's the name on LinkedIn?
Ndivhuwo Dzivhani.
Okay, so you can follow D on LinkedIn, learn more about project management, and thank you for continuing to support us. And see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
There we go. Thank you, Lindy.